You were told that selflessness is virtue, that putting others before you makes you good. But Machiavelli would call that dangerous. From the very beginning, you were trained to believe that to serve others is the highest form of morality. You were praised for compliance, for being accommodating, for being good. But what if that goodness was never about virtue and always about control? Look closer. Every structure of society, religion, politics, even family, thrives on this illusion. They tell you that self-denial is noble, that sacrifice purifies the soul, that endurance of pain makes you worthy. But the truth Machiavelli whispers through time is this: obedience is the leash of the weak. The world does not reward those who give endlessly. It consumes them. The moment you put others first by default, you declare to the world that your boundaries are negotiable, that your time, your focus, your energy can be borrowed or taken without consequence. You become easy to manipulate, easy to drain, easy to discard. Because when people sense that you value their comfort more than your own sovereignty, they learn how to pull your strings. Machiavelli understood something most will never grasp. Power is not shared, it is protected. In The Prince, he wrote that the ruler must always preserve authority above popularity, because the moment you try to please everyone, you please no one and lose everything. The same principle governs your life. When you abandon yourself in the name of goodness, you are not being kind. You are erasing yourself. Selflessness, in its distorted modern form, has become the perfect trap. It masquerades as virtue while feeding parasitism. The more you give, the more people expect. The more you sacrifice, the less they respect. Your reward for endless giving is not gratitude, it's dependency, followed by exploitation. Machiavelli would ask you, who benefits from your selflessness? Who gains when you stay silent, when you overextend, when you say yes while dying inside? It is never you. Putting yourself first is not arrogance. It is returning to natural order. Every predator in the wild eats before sharing. Every tree draws water for its own roots before offering shade. Even light itself travels in straight lines, never bending, never apologizing. Only humans were taught to break their own spine and call it virtue. You were never meant to live in servitude disguised as kindness. To put yourself first means to reclaim your center, to say, my energy is sacred, my time is limited, my peace is not up for negotiation. It means you stop apologizing for choosing yourself. You stop begging for validation from people who thrive on your compliance. You start walking differently, not with arrogance, but with quiet authority. Because when you live only to please, you vanish. Your ambitions fade. Your voice weakens. Your purpose dissolves into the noise of others' expectations. And when you disappear, no one will rescue you, because they were never meant to. The world doesn't reward selflessness, it rewards strategy. To serve wisely, you must first stand solidly in your own power. Only then can your generosity have meaning, because it comes from strength, not submission. That is the first truth Machiavelli wanted you to understand. You cannot protect anyone if you are not sovereign. You cannot lead if you are lost. You cannot love deeply if you are empty. The sin of selflessness is not that you give too much, it's that you forget who is giving. So stop dissolving into other people's needs. Put yourself first, not because the world owes you, but because you owe yourself the life that no one else will fight for. Law 1. Guard your time like gold. Every second you spend explaining yourself to those who don't understand your vision is a second stolen from your destiny. Your time is not infinite, it's your most sacred asset, and the world will drain it if you let it. Machiavelli warned, He who gives too much of himself becomes weak. He understood that time and attention are the lifeblood of influence. Every leader, every powerful mind, every visionary, they all share one trait: ruthless selectivity. Guarding your time doesn't mean you become selfish, it means you become strategic. Every yes you give to the trivial is a no to your evolution. When you stop giving your minutes to gossip, drama, and emotional chaos, you begin to feel your power returning. Most people confuse activity with progress. They move constantly but go nowhere. Machiavelli would call that movement without direction the behavior of the pawn, not the prince. Time, like gold, must be stored, refined, and invested only in what strengthens your kingdom, your mind, your craft, your peace. You must learn to say no, not out of arrogance, but out of awareness. Every no is an act of sovereignty. Every boundary is a silent declaration. My life is mine to direct. Law 2. Never seek validation. Approval is the leash of the weak. The moment you start chasing other people's approval, you hand them the remote control to your worth. You let them decide when you feel valuable and when you don't. This is how power dies, not through defeat, but through dependence. Machiavelli observed that rulers who seek love over fear always lose control. Why? Because love given out of pity or approval is temporary. It vanishes the moment you stop feeding it. But self-respect, the kind born from internal validation, cannot be taken. Validation is a drug disguised as love. Each compliment gives a temporary high, each rejection a deep crash, and slowly you become an emotional addict, checking your reflection in others' eyes to see if you still exist. The powerful man, the powerful woman, does not seek mirrors. They build their own reflection. Their self-worth is not built on applause, but on discipline. They don't chase being understood, they chase becoming undeniable. Ask yourself, would you still pursue your path if no one clapped for you? Would your mission still matter if the world mocked it? If the answer is yes, then you have already broken the chain of validation. Machiavelli would remind you, the crowd is fickle. Today's praise becomes tomorrow's condemnation. Do not kneel for applause that will vanish when you stumble. The lion does not wait for the sheep to approve of its roar. Law 3. Build emotional independence. This is the foundation of all self-priority. If your peace depends on others' affection, approval, or attention, then your peace is a hostage. Emotional dependence is the most subtle form of slavery. It disguises itself as love, but it's really a contract of control. You give me validation, I'll give you my soul. Machiavelli warned rulers never to rely on the loyalty of others, only on the stability of their own strategy. Apply this inwardly. Your emotional stability must be your own creation, not a gift from anyone else. Detach, observe, respond, never react. When people insult you, betray you, ignore you, your reaction feeds their control. But when you stay composed, silent, calculating, they lose their power instantly. Emotional independence means you can walk away from any person, job, or situation that threatens your peace. You do not beg, you do not chase. You simply redirect your energy inward, where it multiplies. Coldness in this context is not cruelty, it is clarity. It's the awareness that emotional chaos is how manipulators win. They push until you break, then pretend to comfort you. When you stop reacting, their power dies in silence. To build emotional independence is to reclaim your internal throne. It's the realization that you are your own source of validation, security, and calm. No one can destabilize what they cannot touch. And once you guard your emotions behind composure and purpose, you become untouchable. Putting yourself first doesn't mean abandoning empathy. It means protecting your energy from constant leakage. The endless emotional giving that leaves you hollow. When you stop chasing approval, when you stop explaining yourself, when you stop tying your peace to external forces, something powerful happens. You become the source, not the seeker. Others will feel it. They'll sense the quiet shift in your energy, the way you no longer beg for understanding, the way you no longer justify your existence. You'll stop orbiting around people, and they'll start revolving around you. Follow these laws and you won't need to demand respect. It will arrive, uninvited but inevitable. Because power, as Machiavelli taught, does not shout, it radiates. Law 4. Master the art of absence. Machiavelli warned, too much presence breeds contempt. When you are constantly available, you stop being seen. You become background noise. Power thrives in mystery, not in exposure. Strategic absence creates value. When you step away, people notice the silence you leave behind. They begin to question, to miss, to wonder. That curiosity, that subtle hunger, is your leverage. It pulls others toward you without you having to move. Withdrawing doesn't mean vanishing, it means controlling your visibility. Appear rarely but with precision. Speak less, but make each word weigh more. A ruler who is always in the public eye becomes too familiar, and familiarity erodes awe. But the one who withdraws with timing and intention becomes legendary. Absence is not a lack of presence. It is a tool of command. Every retreat must serve a purpose, to rebuild strength, to study, to make your next entrance unforgettable. When you leave the room, the game should shift, because true power is felt even in silence. Law 5. Keep intentions hidden. Reveal your plans too early, and the world will unite to stop them. Machiavelli taught that secrecy is a weapon, not of deceit, but of survival. When your intentions are visible, your enemies gain a map. When they are hidden, confusion becomes your ally. Move like a shadow. Speak as if you know less than you do. Act as if your motives are simple, even when they are layered with depth. This unpredictability makes others cautious. It forces them to guess, to hesitate. And hesitation is time, which you can use to advance. Even your allies should never see your full blueprint. Machiavelli knew that loyalty is temporary, but mystery endures. The fewer people who understand your true purpose, the harder it is for anyone to betray you. A silent strategist always wins over the loud dreamer, because when people can't read you, they can't disarm you. Every smile, every word, every pause should be intentional, revealing only what benefits your plan, concealing everything else. Power is not only in action, it's in what remains unseen. Law 6. Use kindness as strategy. Kindness is not weakness, it's a currency. But like all valuable currencies, it must be spent wisely. Machiavelli saw that pure coldness wins fear, but calculated kindness wins influence. Coldness earns distance, but kindness opens doors. When offered selectively, it becomes magnetic. When given to everyone, it becomes meaningless. True Machiavellian kindness is deliberate. It disarms suspicion, it lowers guards, it makes people reveal themselves, and often their weaknesses. But kindness without intention drains you. So give it like a rare gem, to the few who matter, never to the many who only take. Your kindness must serve your higher order, your stability, your peace, your purpose. Let it be genuine, but never uncontrolled. Even compassion can be a tool of influence when guided by awareness, because in truth, when everyone can touch you, no one treasures you. Distance is not detachment, it is design. Every boundary, every silence, every concealed thought is architecture. You are sculpting perception, teaching others how to approach your power. Machiavelli understood that the space between appearances is where respect is built. Appear too much, and they grow numb. Reveal too much and they prepare against you. Give too much and they forget your worth. Power lives in the tension between presence and absence, warmth and coldness, clarity and mystery. The wise ruler and the wise individual learns to control all three. Power doesn't always roar. Sometimes it whispers, sometimes it doesn't speak at all. In these next 3 laws, Machiavelli reveals that the strongest empires are built not with armies, but with presence, precision, and silence. Law 7. Speak less than you know. Every word you say is a window, and the more you open it, the easier it is for others to see inside your mind. Machiavelli understood that true influence lies not in what you say, but in what you withhold. When you speak less, you create tension. People begin to fill the silence with their own projections, their assumptions, fears, and curiosities. They start to chase your approval, your attention, your opinion. You stop being predictable, and that unpredictability becomes your armor. Those who talk endlessly expose their weaknesses, their emotions, their strategies. But those who measure their words, who let silence do half the talking, project control. Your silence says, I choose when to engage. In conversation, power isn't about dominating the air. It's about making every word carry weight. Speak as if every sentence were a coin, something valuable you can't afford to waste. When you speak, let it cut through the noise like a blade, not blend into it. Your restraint will become magnetic. The fewer words you use, the more people listen when you finally decide to speak. That's how you turn language into a weapon, not by shouting, but by sharpening. Law 8. Cultivate inner majesty. Machiavelli believed that half of power is appearance. The aura you project often matters more than the reality beneath it. Power begins with posture, how you stand when no one is watching. It's in the calmness of your tone when others lose theirs. It's in your ability to stay still when chaos surrounds you. Majesty isn't arrogance, it's self-command. You don't need to demand respect when your presence silently commands it. When you enter a room, people should feel that you don't need to prove anything because your energy already speaks for you. That's inner majesty. It's a quiet form of dominance that says, I know who I am and I don't need you to remind me. Even when doubt creeps in, and it will, don't show it externally, because perception creates reality. If you act uncertain, others will begin to doubt you. But if you carry yourself with composed confidence, they'll believe in your strength, even if you're still finding it. Machiavelli knew that power isn't always about truth. It's about what others believe to be true. So build your image carefully. Speak with intention. Move deliberately. Let every gesture communicate authority. Because when your external presence is anchored in discipline, your inner doubts lose their power. That's how kings are made long before they wear a crown. Law 9. Control emotion to control reality. Machiavelli's most dangerous truth: whoever controls emotion controls the battlefield. Most people react. They are pulled by the strings of fear, anger, and ego. But the person who remains calm when others panic, that's the one everyone subconsciously looks to for leadership. Emotional control is not repression, it's mastery. It means observing your emotions like a strategist studies his enemy, with distance, not denial. When someone attacks you, pause. When something goes wrong, breathe. When tension rises, lower your tone. These small acts of composure disarm chaos. They shift power back to you, silently, invisibly. Your calm becomes contagious. In storms, people follow the one who looks like the eye of the hurricane. This is how you bend reality, not through domination, but through emotional command. You dictate the emotional tone of the room. You shape outcomes by shaping reactions. When you no longer need to prove your strength, when you can choose peace over impulse, you've already won. Because that's the paradox of power. The moment you stop chasing control, you become it. The silent empire begins within. You don't build it by speaking louder or showing more. You build it brick by brick through restraint, observation, and presence. And one day you'll realize you no longer need to shout to be heard. Your silence echoes louder than any noise. Law 10. Be ruthlessly self-focused in your mission. Putting yourself first doesn't mean crushing others. It means protecting the mission that only you were born to complete. A lion doesn't apologize for hunting. It fulfills its nature. Machiavelli's genius wasn't in cruelty, it was in clarity. He understood something that most people miss. The ones who hesitate to prioritize themselves are devoured by those who don't. And what is this mission? It's the reason you're here, your purpose, the impact only you can make. When you focus on fulfilling your purpose above all else, the distractions fade, the opinions of others, the pressure of conforming, the expectation of serving, all of that becomes irrelevant. This is where most people fail. They live for approval, for praise, for comfort. But those who live solely for their mission walk a different path, a path of sovereignty. Machiavelli was not advocating for selfishness for the sake of cruelty. His genius was in recognizing the true power of focus. Those who put themselves first, their goals, their values, their purpose, are the ones who dictate the terms of their own lives. Everyone else becomes a spectator to their greatness. So ask yourself, do you live to please or do you live to command? Do you serve approval or do you serve purpose? Because the moment you decide that your peace, your focus, and your mission come before anyone's opinion, you stop being prey, you become sovereign. If this message awakened something in you, comment power within. Share this video and remember, being selfish isn't evil, it's evolution. This is The Last Thinker, where knowledge becomes strategy. In this final part, we're taking everything Machiavelli taught us and bringing it into the real world. Becoming sovereign, in his eyes, was about making no apologies for your nature. To fulfill your destiny, you must prioritize yourself without fear of judgment. The true measure of power lies in your ability to protect your mission, and in doing so, you rise above the noise.